Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Papal Political Vigilante, bringing the truth to the good citizens of Gotham. It's the People's Channel. You guys make this happen. I really appreciate you supporting me. It's amazing. Please like, share, subscribe. We've been demonetized for over 2.5 years, so any way you can help, there's ways to help below. I have a Bitcoin wallet. You can support that, which is a cool thing. A Patreon, Rockfin, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform that pays its content creators in crypto and does not censor anybody, which is the thing I love about it. Which is bringing me to this subject, which is a very important thing. We talk about net neutrality on this show. We've had Ron Placone on numerous times to tell us about there's a bunch of horrible, basically bad internet bills that are out there that we all need to be aware of because it will affect all of us. So I wanted to bring Ron back on the show. The host of Get Your News On with Ron is Ron Placone, who's been working on the Bad Internet Bills campaign. Ron, thank you for joining us today.
What's up, Graham? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, my friend. So we had you on about a month or so ago talking about the status of some of these bad internet bills. You've made us aware of badinternetbills.com, which is a great resource for people to use. So where are we at today, and what can people do?
So here's like my overall just big picture take on it. The past couple days, well, I guess maybe the past week, different parts of the world have literally had the hottest day ever on freaking record. And it's nuts, dude. And it's
the whole planet. I mean, let's just be real clear. Has broken records.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And so you look at that and you think, man, technology, our global village, the internet, that should be a resource and an ally in building a better society for tomorrow. And it very well can be. There's a lot of benefits to our global village. I think it's safe to say. Sadly, we have a government that is just hyper-focused on passing a bunch of terrible dystopian legislation that makes everything infinitely worse. And it is beyond tragic. So badinternetbills.com launched a little while ago by Fight for the Future. And it just kind of summarized all of these bills like the Earn It Act, the Restrict Act, which in many ways is the digital version of the Patriot Act, COSA, the list goes on and on. A lot of these bills, they do things like gut encryption, which makes all of our messaging less safe online. A lot of these bills allow surveillance to happen a lot easier. A lot of these bills would give the government control over apps. That was the big deal with the Restrict Act. Because it goes after TikTok in particular. So these are all terrible bills. So because a lot of these bills, Congress is trying to push some of them through before their August recess, there's going to be a day of action starting on Thursday, July 20th. There's going to be, actually, excuse me, I misspoke, a week of action starting on Thursday, July 20th. It's going to go through the 28th, right before Congress goes on their recess, which, you know, that they work very hard. They deserve it. But they're going on recess. And people can go to badinternetbills.com, which is going to be revamped to make it easier for you, even easier for you, to just contact your representatives directly and tell them none of these bills get through last minute. We cannot tolerate these bills. So go to badinternetbills.com. There's a lot of different human rights organizations involved with this. Fight for the Future, of course, who I collaborate with. EFF is in on this, ACLU. So a lot of different organizations are in on this to basically tell Congress that we can't tolerate these dystopian hellscape bills, especially now. I mean, not ever, but especially now. It's like, come on. I mean, everything's just so ridiculous. And you just want to make the internet a lot worse too, really? So badinternetbills.com, please go. It just takes a few moments and let your elected officials know that these bills cannot be tolerated. If you signed before, do it again, because now it's been revamped to really send a message to them to not do any shady shenanigans right before the August recess.
So, and this is important. I mean, I'm glad that you and others like, you know, the Fight for the Future and the Electronic Frontier Fund, the EFF. I mean, we talked about them in the movie Earbuds because that's when they first. This was 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago that they were starting to see this. I mean, and this all actually ties in to these big tech companies and the government doing this, and it's relative to the writers, and now SAG-AFTRA just joined the strike last week. And this is, like this SAG went on strike Friday, and this is all connected. People think, and it's kind of good to see that the labor movement is waking up to this in the country, because everyone's realizing that, look, like the Amazon workers that are protesting working conditions and pay in an Amazon warehouse are getting screwed over by the same company that's screwing over writers and actors, because Amazon also owns a streaming service. And this is also streaming services. This is relatable to these horrible internet bills and the insane censorship that we're having to deal with, that you've had to deal with, that I've had to deal with. And so if you think this isn't going to affect you, you're mistaken. I mean, this is affecting all of us, and which is why a collective grassroots movement. And I know when you're just one person at home watching a video like this going, what do? I just have a regular job. I have no power. Well, if you go to badinternetbills.com and start paying attention, and you tell your friends and your neighbors and you post on your social media, then all of a sudden your thing turns into 10 people, then that turns into 100, which turns into 1,000, which turns into 10,000, which all of a sudden, because that is the one power we have. There are more of us than there are of them. But we have to make our voices known, and we have to make our voices known collectively, which is what people are really realizing. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people talking about general strikes, wildcat strikes. This was language I've never heard in my lifetime in America. I mean,
right.
General strike has only, no one has talked about this, and now everyone's realizing, because look, you've got the Writers Guild, and which was, I don't know, 30,000 members, but now SAG-AFTRA is 160,000 members, I believe. You've got a bunch of hotels. The hotel union is on strike in Los Angeles. Numerous hotels have picket lines. You've got what Amazon has been doing. You've got
UPS.
UPS is about to go on strike.
Yeah, they're going to, I think. I mean, unless something really changes between now and the end of the month. But the way they're talking, it does not sound good. Or I mean, it sounds like they're going to have to go on strike.
Well, my fear is that the good old Biden administration will come in and do like they did with the rail strike.
He's going to try.
He's going to try to crush it, because that's what the Democrats do. The Republicans and Democrats are the same in that. The Democrats always talk labor and unions, but they always crush it when push comes to shove in the 11th hour. So, yeah, it's good you're bringing awareness. What else do you think people can do, just who are watching this video?
Well, that's the first thing you can do. Go to badinternetbills.com. And the other cool thing about that resource is you can read up on each and every bill. So you don't have to take my word on every single one. You can read up on them for yourself, see the different perspectives around these bills, and then call your elected officials and let them know. So that's the first and easiest things you can do. Just go to badinternetbills.com. Thursday is when the campaign officially launches. So please, 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 badinternetbills.com. Another thing I really encourage people to do is to kind of get involved in their community and kind of see the connection, no pun intended, between all of these issues. I'm so big on digital rights because I see how it connects to everything else, and I feel like it's a good lane for me. I see how it connects to the climate, because technology is going to play a role in our adaptation, especially things like the internet and communication tools. So I see the connection there. I see the connection between labor being a good communication vehicle for people, and the way Amazon is able to, basically have a monopoly on internet services, the way places like Amazon and Google do. That bleeds into labor, because that allows Amazon to exploit people the way they do. When you look at all these online surveillance tools that are being used for nefarious purposes, facial recognition, stuff like that, well, that bleeds into cracking down on abortion rights, the registries that they're making of transgender people in Florida, how they're tracking people that have gotten gender-affirming care and abortion services in Mississippi. This kind of stuff is going on throughout the country. It's Orwellian, dystopian, and absolutely disgusting. And tech plays a role in all that. Your digital rights are significant in allowing the powers that be to do the horrible things that they're doing. If we had better data privacy, if we had better encryption, if we had more antitrust enforced in the digital space, which was a campaign that I fought really hard for, they wouldn't be able to do all this stuff. So yeah, there's a big connection between digital rights and the climate, digital rights and online surveillance, digital rights, and even in the crypto space. A lot of the surveillance stuff is used in the crypto space too, and they're always trying to get away with more stuff there. So, all these things are connected because digital rights are human rights. So I think people, first thing, go to badinternetbills.com. Second thing, just kind of get involved in your community. Third thing, put I'm a municipal broadband advocate on your dating profile. It is a surefire success. I mean, it is just, and if anyone has questions, show them this video. You'll be going on so many dates.
If this video doesn't get you laid, I don't know what we're doing.
Right?
I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's happening. If this lefty political show that's highly censored doesn't really just get you on some hot dates, I don't know. Something's wrong. Something's broken with the system.
So yeah, badinternetbills.com.
Awesome. And Ron, we have a show coming up. The Banded Florida show, July 27th at the Crow in Santa Monica. We're doing two of them. We're doing July 27th and August 31st. So July 27th is with James Adomian and Mona Sheikh, both of who've been on the show, and anything can happen. And are, lefties who would be banned in Florida. So go to GrahamElwood.com for that. You can see Ron and I in Santa Monica. The Crow is this really cool comedy club that's only been open, I don't know, not even a year.
Yeah, it hasn't been long.
Yeah, by Nicole Blaine. It's a women and family owned business, and she's a comic, and so she's really, it's a cool. So you're supporting, and it's also in Bergamot Station in Santa Monica. So there's a giant free parking lot. There's also right by the Bergamot Station Expo line if you want to take public transportation there.
Yeah, how often do you get that in Los Angeles? Anywhere? Hey, it's right on the train line, and there's free parking if you need it. In Santa Monica, no less. Yeah, it's a wonderful space.
It's awesome. It's a really cool place to perform. The comics are taken, so you're supporting a lot of cool things by coming to that show. The tickets are only $20. Go to GrahamElwood.com. I'm also headlining in San Diego August 3rd at Mic Drop Comedy. So San Diego, I haven't done a show down there in years. Please come out and support that. Again, when you come out to a live show, you're supporting what we're doing. And it helps us, keep being comics and doing political comedy, which there's not a lot of political comics. And speaking of which, Ron, you also have some shows coming up, getting ready for Edinburgh.
I'm getting ready for Edinburgh. If any international listeners out there who are planning on going to Edinburgh or are in Edinburgh, I will be there August 16th through 27th. My shows are at 4 p.m. daily, and I'm part of the Free Fringe, so there's actually no admission to go to my shows. You just put it on your agenda, and you can find out more information at my website, ronplacone.com. So August 16th through 27th, Edinburgh Fringe. And then I'm going to be coming back. I'm going all the way to a different continent, and then I'm coming back to literally my neighborhood where October 21st, I'm doing a comedy series in San Pedro. Our first show is October 21st. So all my local people come out to that show because I'm hoping that the venue is going to want to start a series with me. Graham, of course, you're on my short list of headliners for that. And so October 21st is the first one. Stephanie Blum will be headlining, and I will be there as well. And so, yeah, ronplacone.com for all those tickets and information.
Awesome. Right on, folks. Go to ronplacone.com and GrahamElwood.com. Come support our shows. We really, really appreciate it. And also, like, share, and subscribe to this video, and all that those little analytical things helps. So follow the money, connect the dots, and get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for watching. Boom. All right.
Did you get the knuckles enough? I was worried you didn't. Did you hold it long? Okay. All right. I was worried you didn't hold it long enough. I was like, are they going to see those knuckles? I'm not sure. He needs to make sure.
It's so important. It's the most important part of what we're doing here, Ron.
It is important. Consistency is important.
It is, Ron. Well, you got ready? You got time for another hot, fresh segment, buddy?
Yeah, we're going to talk about distractions.
We're going to talk about the Barbie, the stupid Barbie thing.
Oh yeah, that was pretty. I only just saw a couple headlines. I don't even know all their all the logic that was employed here, but I'm sure it's a doozy. Of course not.
There's no But yeah, I think so. I'll bring you on in a second for that segment. All right.
All right.
Get ready, folks. Another hot fresh segment coming very shortly. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Vigilante. This is the People's Channel. You guys come here for the truth. One of the things I like doing on this show is seeing whatever the crazy distraction of the day or the week is, and what it's truly distracting us from. So there's a new military budget being introduced. 800. The current budget is 858 billion. The new one is 886 billion that's being proposed, but they're trying to attach. I think the Republicans are trying to attach like some anti-trans stuff to it or whatever. So that's the only thing that's going to make it a fight. But normally that gets passed with bipartisan. So 886 billion is the new proposed budget for 2024, right? 800, and they'll decide on it in the next couple of months, right? By December of 23, they'll have the 24 budget. Last year it was 858 billion, which is atrocious. So anytime something crazy is in the news, I was like, what's going on? Like, what are they? Usually either there's some Epstein thing they're covering up, like whatever, or there's more war stuff. So the most ridiculous thing now that this came out of interest today. So the movie Barbie just opened. It's a big summer blockbuster. And this was in Yahoo News. This is like all over the news today. Was this alarming story? Is Barbie a Chinese communist sympathizer? Oh my Lord. What are they saying? A movie about a plastic dolls, not nuclear weapons, has caused political uproar among some conservatives over its depiction of a dashed line off the coast of a childlike drawing of Asia, markings that somewhat resemble territorial border claims by China in the South China Sea. Which is hilarious. Outside of the Barbie world, the horseshoe-shaped 9-dash line has been used by the Chinese government since the 40s as a claim of up to 85% of the South China Sea. The film, well, Why, maybe just a Barbie map in Barbie world. The fact that a cartoonish, crayon scribbled map seems to go out of its way to depict the People's Republic of China's unlawful territorial claims demonstrates the pressure that Hollywood is under to please the CCC censors. Now, that's a true thing. We'll get into that with our guest. Oh, that is a thing. Many countries bordering the South China Sea. Right. Okay. So this is the nonsense, and oh, it's all on the Twitter and the internet, and it's, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Is Barbie a commie? And then this gets everybody to go on the internet and waste their time and ours.
Hey man, I think you just went out. Yeah, I can't hear you. Chat, is it me? Is it my? I mean, see, I never know. Did Graham's audio go out, everybody? All right, now you're like, it's like you're in a tunnel.
How about now? Is that better?
There you go. You're back. You're back. What's up, man?
So do I need to do the intro over again?
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
Right.
I mean, you could just say Ron Plug. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm here now. You don't have to like, unless you want to.
Were you able to hear? Well, no. What I mean, like all that stuff about Barbie in China, was that audible or no?
Oh yeah, no, that was all audible. And then like pretty much right before you brought me on, you just like kind of went out. And then I was like, oh, I think Graham's out. And then like I saw that I was on, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess he introduced me. I better tell him we can't hear him.
All right, I'll introduce you.
Okay.
I'll introduce you again. So to discuss this further is the host of Get Your News On with Ron Placone.
Hey Graham, what's up, buddy? Doing
buddy, is Barbie a commie? I mean, what do we do, Ron?
You know what?
Oh, I
thought at first, I was like, I don't think that's true. I don't think Barbie's a communist. But then, you know what? I bought a Ken doll recently. The cock is a hammer and sickle. So they're really doing this. They're committed.
Well, then I would buy a Ken doll if that's what his dick was. You pull it down,
right?
Just a hammer and sickle.
Right? That's what they're doing. I saw that headline and I was just like, wow, everything that's going on in the world. This is this is where you invested some chips, huh? Good job.
No, you had a great tweet. It was something like, we're on the brink of World War III with Russia. We're having climate collapse. It's the hottest the Earth has ever been. People
there's flooding. There's freaking flooding.
But
historic strike.
Is Barbie a red? That's the real concern.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so funny on a lot of levels. So obviously they're trying to introduce a new military budget, which would be $886 billion, which again, if we were to cut our military budget in half to 440 or whatever, we would still be outspending China by over $200 billion a year. Their military budget is roughly around $200 billion a year. And so we need this anti-China hysteria and anti-Russia hysteria to justify these crazy military budgets. But just to show you, before we get how ridiculous this is, one of the reasons this is a thing with Hollywood that you might not be aware of, is to get distribution into China. And China has, like America has roughly 3,000 movie theaters, right? Screens, if you add up all the screens, right? China has something like 10 to 20,000 screens because they're 1.5 billion people. We're only 330 million people. So this started about 10 years ago in Hollywood, that if you wanted to get Chinese distribution, you can't say anything negative about China. You have to say positive things about China, and then you need to have like at least 1 or 2 Chinese actors. And so you see it like in these Marvel movies or whatever, like the Chinese government comes in and helps fight, Hydra or whatever, or the Chinese government is always depicted in a very positive light. And because Hollywood is a business and doesn't care about anything, so all Hollywood cares about. I mean, you could go on and on with it. There was a player in the NBA who put free Tibet on his shoes, and he got in trouble. So this is what China does: is they flex their muscle economically, and America flexes its muscles militarily. So this is a thing that Hollywood does, but it's also every major business has manufacturing in China. Every major American company has manufacturing in China. So it's hilarious to me. And it also then begs the question of, if it's when I hear the media try to make China out to be this evil empire that's going to try to attack our shores, it's like, why would China attack 300 million of its best customers? Not to mention China's Silk and Road Initiative is really China's just been buying everybody's favor. So this article doesn't even go into those sort of nuances of dealing with the geopolitical thing in terms of the economics, big business, and China. Every American company has to do business with China. Every single one, just about. So when we do this posturing as China's the bad guy, and I'm not excusing anything negative China's done, but obviously you and I have talked about this at great length on both of our shows, is that America is the evil empire. So you see a headline like this and you're like, well, this isn't even going to scratch the surface to the realities of the business that we have with China. The fact that China owns the majority of our debt, and if they call in that debt, it's over for us. And also the real threat here is, China and Russia have gone off the US dollar. They're part of the BRICS countries, right? Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa, and other countries, maybe Venezuela, are going to be joining us. They're all going off the dollar. So that's the real threat here, is not that China's going to attack Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
It's that they're going to overtake us economically. And that's, but also then this gets everybody distracted arguing about, is Barbie a commie?
It's just so stupid. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like you take this thing where it's like, oh, there's the kind of like little minuscule morsel of truth is that, like, oh yeah, you don't see, because they want distribution in China, Hollywood wants, that's a real thing. But then they take it to this absurd cuckoo. Well, and Barbie's a commie. Like, okay, come on. I wish they had a communist Barbie, actually. I wish they had a Barbie. It came with a copy of Das Kapital. That's one of the accessories.
Yeah, and she, like, instead of some like materialistic, Corvette or whatever, she, took public transportation, and she worked at a, socialist coffee shop or whatever. She was she was at a labor rally or whatever, rather than like buying handbags or whatever, just living in.
Her boyfriend is Co-op Ken.
And they met on a municipal broadband dating website.
That's right. They met on a municipal broadband dating website at a town hall meeting.
Yeah, and they just like have a community garden that they feed the low-income people with, and that Barbie, I'd love to see that Barbie.
Yeah.
Again, it shows you how dumb conservatives are. They don't even know what communists and socialism, and they don't, the left, they just like, Joe Biden's a socialist. Like, I wish he was. And this is the socialist communist Hollywood. No, Hollywood is not socialist and communist. Hollywood is neoliberal capitalists. They are.
We're really seeing that now.
Yes.
I mean, holy shit. How anyone could look at what's going on and be like, oh, a bunch of commies. Like, are you seeing what's going on? Did you get that quote from the execs where they want all the writers to just starve and lose their homes? Did you see that?
Yes.
Like, they're freaking capitalists. They're capitalists at the core.
And, all the executives right now are like up in Vail or something like that, having some retreat, not caring, because
so ridiculous.
They're waiting until August 10th. So this is what's the deal with the writer strike. They're not going to do anything until after, because after August 10th, all the big contracts that they've signed with people like Shonda Rhimes, for example, got a $500 million contract with Netflix. And they signed these massive 9-figure deals with writers and people like Shonda Rhimes. And Taylor Sheridan, I believe, and other people like that. And they have, under the terms of the contract, they have to deliver so much content. And if they don't by August 10th, then these companies can walk away from these contracts. So that's the real thing with the WGA, is they're just waiting this out until they can purge a couple $2 billion of contracts, because they haven't paid them all out, because the people haven't delivered the content, because they've frozen Hollywood, the show, the streaming services has. So that's the reality. And then, you've got Bob Iger making $30 million a year saying, oh, the actors are being unrealistic or whatever. It's like,
yeah, the guy who is the CEO of Disney, which has made billions of dollars making movies about fairies and talking animals, but paying writers a living wage. That's not realistic. That's above the fray. The idea that the thing that people make that generates billions, without the writing, nothing else would happen. It generates billions, and the people who do that getting paid a living wage, that's too much to ask. What do they think? What is realistic to him? They're like, well, what is realistic to you? If this is not a job worth a living wage, what is realistic? What should the writers expect? And why do you get a $40 million salary? Why is that realistic?
Yeah.
Please explain that to me. It's unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, there have been so many. I mean, it's not like this is anything we didn't already know, but it is just, it's just even uglier than we realize. Like the caricature of the Hollywood mogul who's just clueless and doesn't have a creative bone in their body. That's too generous. I mean, that's accurate, but it's too generous. It's more malicious than that. Not only are they clueless and don't have a creative bone in their body, they have pure disdain for anyone who does. So it's even more malicious than that. I mean, wow. And they're going to let it all. I mean, dude, and we've talked about this in various capacities. I mean, look, I tell people, the run Hollywood as a concept, as we know it, here in Los Angeles, has existed for about 100 years. That's a pretty long run. That could be the end of the run. And I'm like, look, if you would have went up to someone in 1973 in Detroit, who was part of the big music scene there, and said, hey, at the end of the decade, it's all going to be over, they would have laughed right in your freaking face. And then at the end of the decade, they would have been like, holy shit, how did you know that? If you would have went to someone in the Lower East Side, New York City, from the 20s to the 40s and say, hey, all this indie theater stuff, especially these anti-capitalist sentiments, you guys are going to get plowed through by a bunch of corporate overlords. They'd be like, nah, dude, this is always going to be our space. Nope. So the idea that Hollywood can go bye-bye, and in this case, it's like, I mean, both those other things I described were good things, I mean, there were some bad elements too, like anything else in the world, but for the most part, they were good things, like the music scene in Detroit in the 70s. But even still, the idea that Hollywood as we know it can't go bye-bye is just not, I mean, it definitely can. And it might. I mean, it literally might. Where it's like, this might not be a thing anymore, at least not the way it was.
So even, you've talked about artistic scenes and businesses that are going under, but big corporations and big industries have gone completely under, through arrogance. I mean, and look, the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA, there's fair criticism to be made on their negotiating team and their tactics, and they're going up against big business people who are better negotiators and better strategists, and all they care about is money. But you bring up I was talking to someone who's a big production manager, and they're just like, Graham, these studios, and they're going to wait you out, and they, they have better negotiators, and they know what they're doing, and what they, this person was pretty critical of like Fran Drescher and the WGA. And look, the last WGA strike in 2007, 2008, the WGA, in my opinion, they settled for a really bad deal, and that's one of the reasons why they're there today. But even with all of that, and hey, I'm in SAG-AFTRA, so I hope we get everything we want, and I got friends in the WGA, and I hope they get everything they want. You bring up a really good point. Is the CEOs of all these companies and these tech companies are so, like all wealthy people, are woefully out of touch, and they think this show business strike, they think it's 2007 again or 2008 again. And they don't realize there is a massive labor movement going on in this country that really started before COVID in 2018 and 2019, when the teachers unions and all those red states went on strike, and most of them got what they wanted. And there is like the 300 Starbucks that have been unionized nationwide. This is all part of it. We've talked about this. All of this labor stuff and regular American workers are starting to realize, because in the past show business strikes, I can remember regular Americans being like, oh, you crybaby Hollywood people, shut up. I'm not hearing that as much now, because they're like, oh, no.
Man, I wish I was in the same space as you. I've actually, oh man, I hope you're more correct than I am, because I've actually been very disappointed to see the opposite. Where there's sort of like this disdain for the creative class, even amidst some so-called allies. I think overall there's more of what you're talking about than what I'm talking about. But even still, the amount of it I've seen has been surprising and discouraging, where they, like certain pockets of like so-called allies, even on the left, they don't consider creatives part of the working class. They don't consider, like they have just pure disdain for the writers and for the Actors Guild and stuff like that, because they kind of associate everything with the studio execs, which is absolutely ridiculous. Or they point out stuff that they don't like and be like, well, maybe if you didn't make blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's like the equivalent of saying all journalists are Chuck Todd. Like, oh, well, look at those big Marvel movies or something. They're all stupid, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, that's like saying like journalism sucks because look at Chuck Todd or look at, like whoever. You're gonna just lump everybody doing that craft in the same thing. Like, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So I've been very disappointed in the amount of the sort of, oh, you're creative for a job, you're not part of the working class. That is not a message of solidarity. It is not accurate. And it's honestly like very chauvinistic and backwards. And it's one of the elements of fascism. When you have a true disdain for the arts, that's one of the elements of fascism, because the arts are one of the things that break through shitty ideas.
Yeah, and the arts, if they're done the right way, should be calling out the powerful. They should be right. Well, it's interesting. I haven't really seen much of that online. So it just shows you how fractured the internet is. If there's more people doing what you're witnessing, well, then Bob Iger's got nothing to worry about, because then everyone will fight with each other, and that's how the ruling classes always stayed in power, is they get everybody to fight with each other.
I hope that what I'm seeing is just a small but loud minority, but I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean,
that's my point.
Yeah.
If it is a small minority, so what I'm saying is, if it's a majority, well, then they'll keep us divided in the same way. Like 3 years ago, everyone was doing George Floyd, and then the Milwaukee Bucks went on strike in the middle of the playoffs, and Obama talked them to go back into playing, and everyone will go back to sleep. So that could happen. That could easily happen, because Americans are can go back to sleep very easily. The one thing that's different is inflation is through the roof. People can't pay their bills. And now that people are on strike, BlackRock is deliberately, and companies like BlackRock are deliberately buying houses 25, 30% above value. They're pricing out people who have finally saved up money to get a house, which is the American dream. That used to be the thing that we had a thriving middle class in America because of mainly home ownership. That created intergenerational wealth, that created upward mobility in America. And so when people can't pay their bills and they get hungry, they're going to take to the streets. And if we have a housing bubble, we have a commercial real estate bubble, a really big one, because all these businesses, people haven't gone back to work. Even industries that are back, people are still working remotely. I defy you to walk down any city street anywhere in America and not find at least 30 to 60% of the businesses shut down. So if all of these things, this perfect storm is created, then the labor movement is going to get a lot of steam, and Hollywood and all these individual businesses are going to be overrun by millions of Americans going, hey, wait a minute, this is all of our struggle. And so, but you know, if dummies are easily, I mean, look, COVID and the vaccine was such an easy tactic to divide the left. The left is all fractured and fighting and stupid, and it's affected you and I and our business and our friendships and relationships. As a result, people are such suckers to easily take the bait and pick a side and be fighty, stupid, dumb Americans, which is why America is a dumb place full of morons. So it's really we'll see. The ruling
That's
elites
actually
are very,
that's what you see at Ellis Island now.
yeah,
When the boat comes in, it just says "dumb place full of morons."
dumb place full of morons.
They no
Good
longer.
luck.
Yeah, that's what it should say.
And then they just stamp thoughts and prayers into your passport and go and send you on your way. So it'll be interesting to see if people realize, if all Americans or the majority of Americans realize that, you know, UPS's labor issues are the same as an actor or writer in Hollywood's labor issues. And Hollywood needs to, I think Hollywood needs to wake up and go, hey, we're only going to go to Starbucks that have been unionized in LA and New York. We're going to support the Amazon worker strike. We're going to support UPS. We're going to use the post office more in solidarity with UPS. We won't cross UP because they'll get scab drivers probably. So all of these unions and all of these people and all of these different factions of America need to come together. And that's how you will get the labor that you want, the negotiations and contracts that you want. If everybody fights with each other and says creatives are stupid and who UPS is dumb anyway and complains like dumb, selfish, fat-headed Americans, then the ruling elites will continue to thrive. And while Americans are fighting over a can of rotten tuna fish.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I hope there's more of what you were earlier referring to than what I've seen, and I feel like there has been some encouraging things. I mean, the Teamsters aren't crossing the picket line for the WGA, like there has been a lot of cross pollination, which is really really encouraging, and I just think that. I don't know. I mean, I'm worried that this is going to go on for a long time. And I'm worried that they're really going to be able to kind of knuckle the writers and SAG into a shitty deal because they're going to just find so many just loopholes, foreign content, reality TV. They have such a long runway of content, and I think they're just going to milk that for all it's worth to the point where they're kind of going to be like, well, what choice do you have? I mean, that's my fear. I hope I'm wrong, and I might be, but that's like my biggest fear. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, some people that thing, but it's funny. I saw some writers online saying, you think you can wait after that quote came out of, we want you to lose your homes and your apartments or whatever. Several writers were like, hey, because you guys have been paying us shitty wages, we all have side gigs, so we can just keep doing our side gigs and strike and not write for you. So, and 95% of SAG-AFTRA doesn't make enough to pay their bills. So most members of SAG-AFTRA have side gigs anyway. So everyone's like, yeah, I'll just go to walk the strike line and then, do my side gig and until we get a better deal. And so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the ruling elites will if it gets tough for them, they've got all this, like you say, they've got foreign content. They can do documentaries and reality TV, which isn't no one's crossing picket lines. They can do all this stuff. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they're very good at divide and conquer. If they're effective at that, if people stay steadfast and and get the word out. I mean, that's the thing that's different.
Well, how long do you think this thing's gonna last? Like, what's your guess? I know we're just speculating here, but
I think you're talking about a minimum of 3 months. The SAG strike, a minimum of 3 months.
Okay.
If not 6.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm
On
kind
top
of
of we're already in 2 months of WGA has been striking since May. So I think this doesn't get resolved till the end of the year. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love it to get resolved and everybody gets a great contract, but
I'm kind of thinking that too, actually. I mean, and it's just so looking at it big picture. And I know we kind of like, like these. We started with Barbie and we got here, but they are connected. So, the craziest thing to think about, I met a younger comic at a show recently, and it was just sort of one of those conversations. Oh, how long have you been in LA and that sort of thing? And he said like he showed up in 2020. And I kind of thought about it. It's like, if you came to Los Angeles in 2020, you have only had about a year of an almost fully functioning industry. And that's so, I mean, it's between, the pandemic, and that's what makes this even all the more frustrating. This is a self-inflicted wound. This is not as by the studios and the execs, obviously. Like, this has nothing to do, like this is greed. This is just pure greed by the studios, by the executives. It should have never come to this point. Everything the writers are asking for, they shouldn't even have to ask for. Everything SAG is asking for, they shouldn't even have to ask for. This is just pure greed, lack of foresight that even got us to this point. And that not only would this ever happen, but that this would happen now, where you're just starting to recover from a shut down world. And actually, like, film sets in Hollywood were actually being pretty responsible. Even they were kind of setting they were kind of setting an example of what you should do for your workers when other companies, the Amazons of the world, just told their workers, go pound sand. If you get sick, we don't give a shit. They were saying like, no, we're going to have organized testing. We're going to make sure everyone stays healthy. Like we're going to make sure you're healthy, and we're going to do it on our time and on our dime, not you, the worker, like we, the studio. They were actually doing it right. And then to just burn it all down. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you?
It's abject greed. They're just trying to get out of these contracts. They're trying to crush the unions. They're trying to, just buy foreign content. And so we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see. But in the meantime, Ron, you and I can tell stand-up comedy jokes.
We can still do live shows. We can still do live shows.
So support live comedy, come out July 27th at the Crow in Santa Monica. We're doing our band in Florida because Governor Rick Scott said he didn't want communists and socialists coming to Florida. So we're making a show. We're not allowed there. So we're going to do a show in LA. I'd love to do a show in Florida. If there's a club in Florida that wants to have us, I want to do a show in Florida, and we hand out copies of Karl Marx at the show.
Actually, what would be funny is if they move all the infrastructure of Hollywood to Florida, and then you and I have to move to Florida after. And be like, oh, can we come in though? We kind of have to.
Yeah, sorry, bro. They need us here.
I think I would stay here. I'd be like, nah, I'll figure it out here.
I'll be living in El Salvador.
There you go. No, that's the one sort of potential silver lining. I was just like, you know what? If the industry is completely fractured and there's no return, what if like a bunch of people just got together and one of those like, hey, this is bringing it to uni broadband. You go to one of those like wired cities that wants remote workers there, either in the United States or abroad, and you just kind of like take it over. Just get like a bunch of creatives and just sort of take it over and make stuff and just live.
Well,
I could do that. I get used to that.
We'll talk more privately, but I'm working on something like that in El Salvador. So it's there's interesting stuff happening down there with their government and Bitcoin and everything. But Come out July 27th to the Band in Florida show. Myself, Ron Placone, James Adomian, Mona Sheikh will all be there. It's at the Crow, this club in Bergamot Station in Santa Monica. It's got free parking, and it's right off the Expo line light rail. So it is the easiest venue to get to. And tickets are at grahamelwood.com. And of course, I'm headlining in San Diego August 3rd. So if you're in the San Diego area, please come out to that show. Go to grahamelwood.com for all of your tickets. Sign up for my newsletter. You get a free vegan smoothie recipe. And I'll be giving you more updates. I've dropped a bunch of videos from when I was just in El Salvador. I'll be dropping more. And then Ron Placone, you've got some shows coming up. You're going to Edinburgh.
Going to Edinburgh, man. August 16th through 27th. I'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Can't wait. If you're in Edinburgh or going to the Fringe, come check out my show. And October 21st, I'm going to be in my neighborhood, San Pedro, California, right on the harbor there in Los Angeles. Tickets and all information at ronplacone.com.
Right on. Ron, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. Buddy, you got time for a You Should Know This?
Yeah, let's do a quick one because I know you're very hot.
I'm so hot.
We'll do a quick one.
All right, I'll bring you on and we'll do it.
All right.
Hello, citizens of Gotham. You are watching The Political Vigilante. It's time for maybe your second favorite show. Anything Can Happen is probably your favorite game show, but this is You Should Know This, where my good friend Ron Placone, who is here from the Get Your News On with Ron show. Hello, Ron.
What's up, Graham?
Good to see you, buddy. So, folks, if you've never watched this before, it's called You Should Know This. Ron knows a lot about music, and I don't know much about it at all. So he's going to do a line from a popular piece of music and see if I know this. And then I will do a line because I know a lot about movies, and Ron thinks everything is a TV show.
Everything.
So that's how we should know. It's popular, what you should know. So Ron Placone, you go first. What piece of music should I know? I'm going to turn off the chat so I don't see it.
All right. I feel like you're either going to get this right away or you're going to be like, oh, shit, how did I not get that? One of the two.
Okay.
And also there are, for the artist, I will accept multiple answers.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Like to tell you about my baby. You know, she comes around. She about 5'4" from her head to the ground. You know, she comes around here at just about midnight. She makes you feel so good, Lord. She make you feel all right.
G-L-O-R-I.
Oh, all right.
Gloria.
Yes. Yes. Yep. I mean, dude, that's so. Who did it?
Hendrix, right?
Did Hendrix do it? I don't know if Hendrix ever did it. I don't know if Hendrix ever caught. He might have. Let me see. That is an acceptable answer. If he did. Did he?
But this was Lou Reed, right? No.
No.
Hendrix did a version of this. I'm almost positive.
Did he, or is it a difference? Yeah, I think he did do a version of Gloria. All right. Well, the original is by them, which I would have accepted them or Van Morrison, because Van Morrison, of course, you know, drifted off from them.
Oh.
And then the other one, I guess Hendrix might have covered it at one point, but my favorite version of Gloria is The Doors.
Oh,
I love the Doors version of Gloria because they really, I mean, like Jim Morrison, which I mean, I know as a front man, he wasn't for everybody, but I've always dug him as a front man, and he kind of like whenever they do Gloria, they like really jam it out on the organ, and he would like kind of like during the talky parts, he would really kind of just ham it up, and it was just so freaking fun to watch. Like he'd be like, "Come here, baby. How old are you? Where do you go to school?" And it's like, it's just badass. The Doors Gloria is just the most badass Gloria, in my opinion.
Well, I love the Doors. I love Jimi Hendrix. A quick admission here. When you said, I was like, oh yeah, Van Morrison. You're like, well, of course they're from them. I never would have known that in 1,000 years that Van Morrison was in a band called Them.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that was the original. And then Van Morrison just went on to do it. And then the Doors. And yeah, it looks like I just Googled it. I Jess Hendricks did do a version of it. I think he mixed it up a little bit though. It was yeah. Yeah, he kind of mixed up the words a little, or like did his own take on the words. So it wasn't a direct cover, but it was like a variation of it.
It's just like, I think it was like a Hendrix. I think it might have been a live show where he just kind of went off on some like guitar riff tangent and he started like playing Gloria.
Yeah. No, that's that tracks. Yeah, because the words are different when he did it. That's cool. I didn't even know that. So hey, man, there you go.
Look at that. I knew something
Graham.
about music that you didn't know.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
All right. So mine is going to be. Let me pick a movie here.
Oh, dude. And then after we do this, I need to tell you the movie that I watched this weekend. Because it's going to blow your fucking mind. You're not going to believe me when I tell you. It'd be like if you were like, hey, Rod, I went to a Mountain Goat show this weekend. I'd be like, what? No, you didn't. You know, it's going to be like that.
I don't know who the Mountain Goats are, but I'm sure they're fantastic.
No, I know, but wait till you hear what I watched this weekend.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to tell you.
All right. So let's see. I'm mad as hell, and I'm just not going to take it anymore.
Network.
God damn it! Have we done that one already?
That bad. We've done other ones from Network. You've never done. I mean, that's like the most obvious Network.
All right, I'm going to do another one. That was too easy. That was too easy. I don't like it when it's that easy. I went too easy on you.
I got one. You got Gloria just as fast.
That makes me mad. I don't think I've ever done one. We've done one or two that were that easy, but that one was right out of the gate.
Well,
have you watched Network in its entirety?
Of course, man. Yeah. I mean, I told you I listened to Sidney Lumet's book.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I listened to his book. I mean, I haven't seen all his films. I'm not like an expert, but I mean, I've seen Network.
All right, I'll do another Sidney Lumet movie.
All right.
So I'll give you that.
I might not know this one.
I'll give you that thing because Sidney Lumet is a fantastic director. If you read his book, you might get this.
All right.
I'm dying over here.
Ooh. Is that Serpico?
Ooh, you are very close in a lot of ways.
Murder on the Orient Express.
No.
All right, let me think of Sidney Lumet films. Just start listing them. You're saying Serpico's close.
It's the same actor. The same lead actor.
Oh, wait. Is that the one where he robs a bank? Is that it? Where he had what's that movie called? He robs a bank and he buys sandwiches for everyone and he has the boyfriend. Oh, goddamn, what was that movie called? It's gonna bother me so much. He goes, they try to pay for the sandwiches, but he insists on paying for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. What is the name of that?
There's a great character actor, Charles Denning, is the cop, and he's like orders beers, and he goes, soft drinks. Come on.
Yes. Yeah. No, and that was so funny. He insists on paying for they're like, it's okay. And he goes, no. I know I'm robbing the bank here. It's just because I gotta. What, he was trying to like get out of the country, right? Because right? Okay. Oh, fuck. What is that? It's like a classic. I've seen this movie, but I don't remember the name of it. It's not Dog Day Afternoon.
That's it.
Oh, that is the title? God damn it. Okay, I thought it was a title other than that. All right. I've seen that movie. I just forgot
I
that
love
was
it.
the title.
It's not the movie that it is. It's not this movie.
All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah, someone was saying that sounds like kind of a generic. It does, but the way he does it in that movie, like I was like, oh yeah, that movie that I've seen, and that's great. Well, all right, Dog Day Afternoon was the title of that movie. Yeah, I've seen that movie more than once actually. I've seen that movie twice.
That movie is so great. There's so many wonderful things. It's based on a true story, because this bank heist actually happened. Pacino makes a great acting choice of the actual guy had glasses, and Pacino says, no, on this day, this is this guy would have forgot his glasses, because it's like everything that could go wrong does. That's why it's such a botched thing.
Yeah.
And so Pacino makes the choice of not bringing glasses. His character doesn't have glasses that he needs, which is why he's like fumbling around, can't read stuff. Like it's
it really
and it's
kind of
also
set the standard for like contained comedies, especially like contained like crime comedies, you know, like I mean, I know this isn't anywhere near the level, but even something like Airheads, like that was totally a nod to Dog Day Afternoon, you know.
Yeah. And you know, Dog Day Afternoon, like, it's not a comedy, but it has comedic moments in it.
Right.
Because there's such the bumbling thing, and you know, spoiler alert, the ending's a little intense. But yeah. Like Annabelle was asking, I thought you for sure were going to call it 3 Dog Night, because this is when you get 3 Days of the Condor and Dog Day Afternoon confused.
Yeah. And I've even guessed Dog Day Afternoon in the wrong context before, and then when it's the actual movie that I've seen, I forget that that's the title.
Oh, it's fantastic. So what movie did you see that's going to blow my mind?
Dude, I saw My Dinner with Andre. How's that for
what?
Yeah, bro. I saw on Saturday, and we had a debrief sesh after by the fire pit, like you do. That's what I did.
Where did you watch the movie? At your house or?
No, at a friend's house. So these friends of ours, they're starting this sort of, you know, just an informal thing where they want to have like screenings of sort of weird, quirky, philosophical movies and then talk about them after. So the first one was My Dinner with Andre. And yeah, it was just funny because like it wasn't a very big group or anything like that, but like one of the people was pretty intoxicated, so he was having like a little bit of a hard time following it. Like he's like, it's still just them talking, and it's like, dude, that's the freaking concept. Have some water. and then it's like, and then it's become so obvious because like the whole theme is like basically a Platonic dialogue. You know, like it's like the oldest form of storytelling, more or less, that we have, like a dialogue that as far as a play goes, right? And then at the very close to the end, you realize, oh wait, it is Plato versus Socrates. You know, like it is the whole this thing, right? With I forget the two actors. The one guy did a bunch of stuff. The other guy, I guess, was mostly just a theater guy.
Yeah.
But
that's Ron, I am thoroughly impressed that you like went out of your way to watch My Dinner with Andre. And
yeah, dude.
With it.
Yeah, and there are so many gems of like you really have to listen. Because I guess, I mean, I don't know a ton about that movie, but the like after like people were saying, yeah, apparently they kind of just knew the main bullet points, because even though it wasn't exactly their life, there was like a little bit of their life, you know, like throughout. So they kind of just had the main points and they knew where they wanted to go. And then they just kind of filmed it. So you really had to like be listening for like the gems of the dialogue. But like there were so many really funny moments in that movie, and then just all the subtleties like with like the server being so annoyed by them, and just you know, It's a cool movie if you kind of get what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's very 70s.
Yeah.
Very 1970s. Well, that's fantastic, Ron Placone. Tell everybody where they can see your tour dates.
You can catch me in the My Dinner with Andre fan club going nationwide now. It's like, no, you can catch me in Edinburgh. Well, first I'll be with Graham July 27th, doing a show with Graham at the Crow in Santa Monica. That's myself, Graham, James Adonian, Monica Shake. Mona, damn it, Mona Shake. That's a fantastic lineup. And then I'm going to be in Edinburgh August 16th through 27th. I'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And then October 21st, I'll be in San Pedro. Tickets and all information at romplaco.com.
Yes, folks, you can go to the July 27th show at the Crow in Santa Monica. There's free parking there. It's at Bergamot Station in Santa Monica. It's also right off the Bergamot Station Expo line stop if you're taking the light rail. Those tickets are at grahamelwood.com. And I'm also San Diego. I'm headlining August 3rd at Mic Drop Comedy. Those tickets are also at grahamelwood.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter and all that cool stuff and follow me on social media. So thanks for watching, everybody. Follow the Buddy Connected House, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom! And you should know this. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for taking time today.
Yeah, man, this was fun. I will, I'll see you soon. Thank you for that, Holly. Grazie mille, Holly. Ciao, ciao. See you, everybody.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
Take care, man.